republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you everybody for attending. Just a quick few housekeeping rules. So just for attendance purposes, we do have Councilwoman Hanks, Councilmember Matteo, and Councilmember Carr and Councilmember Borelli. Everybody is there. We have CB1, Community Board 2, and Community Board 3 present. Of course, the Borough President. So all members are in attendance. And if I could just ask our members if they would entertain accepting a proposal to accept the minutes for.
I accept the minutes.
Okay, Jerry first. Okay, Elena second. Okay, so let's not waste any time and just move right into the presentation. So today we do have New York City EDC and Triangle Equities here regarding the Lighthouse Point project. So I turn over the floor to you.
I'll introduce Evan. My name is Diana, representing the New York City Economic Development Corporation. I'm here with my colleagues, Leah, Lauren, I see just joined. I'll pass it over to Evan from Triangle Equities, who will be doing the presentation on Lighthouse Point, and then the EDC team is here to answer questions afterwards.
Great, thank you, Diana, and thank you to all the members of the Borough Board for spending some time with us and receiving this update on our project. I'm going to share my screen and just wanted to
Evan, you went on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Teams and Zoom and everything's got different controls, so apologize. So is everybody able to see my screen? I believe I'm sharing this this Adobe deck. It says Lighthouse Project Update. All right, great. So appreciate everybody taking some time this afternoon to get a project update. As many of you know, this project has had some trials and tribulations, but we're confident at this point that we're getting to the other side of those and resuming construction here on what's been a very difficult circumstance, not just for us as the developer and EDC as our partner on this project, but of course, you know, the local community that has been waiting for this project to get to completion. But we're getting there and excited to give you an update on where we are. So. Without further ado, for those, and I think it's almost everybody that's familiar with the project site, this is a recent photograph or drone photograph of the Lighthouse Point site. As you see, this is our residential building. We have some scaffolding up on the side of where the residential tower is going to be, and then it's built on top of a commercial podium. We'll refresh on the project specifics. Of course, the Staten Island Ferry Terminal, Empire Outlets, and the Richmond County Ballpark, and Borough Hall, and everything that is St. George. Site plan, we'll be talking about the phase 1 aspect of the project today, which is exclusive of the historic buildings and the future construction site over here on phase 2. Just to reorient everybody, this is the ferry terminals here, ferry maintenance building is here. Accolade and the Lighthouse Museum are over here, and this is our site. This is a rendering of what the project is anticipated to look like on completion, and a quick refresher on what is included in what we call phase 1 of the project. It's a mixed-use building overlooking the New York Harbor and Lower Manhattan, approximately 60,000 square feet of new construction commercial space that includes co-working office space. College of Staten Island is going to be delivering about 6,000 square foot satellite campus for a tech incubator. We have an early childhood learning center that is called the Learning Experience, a national chain of daycares and childhood education provider, fresh food supermarket, and we have some restaurant and quick service space. On top of that commercial structure is 115 units of residential buildings. 20% are permanently affordable to households earning up to 60% of the area median income, and at least another 5, perhaps up to 10% will be affordable to residents earning up to 130% AMI. We have 265 structured parking spaces, both attended and non-attended. And the project is approximately $180 million in total project costs at this point. And we will have created over 600 construction jobs and 62 full-time equivalent jobs, at least in the commercial space. A refresher on timeline, we spent from 2007 to 2014 obtaining or being designated developer of the RFP by New York City Economic Development Corporation, and designing the project plan and securing all the various approvals. Broke ground in 2015, and unfortunately between 2015 and 2019, our original general contractor was beset by delays, mostly related to materials issues with getting the skin of the building, the facade of the building fabricated and delivered from where they had procured it in Europe. And ultimately, between, I guess, the delays on this project and some other complications in their portfolio, they filed for bankruptcy in 2019. There was a bonding company in place under their contract who stepped in and initially had agreed to complete the project, and after about 18 months had not made any progress in completing, which put us in a position of essentially forcing us to litigate for their non-performance. In August of last year, about a year ago, we settled with the surety to provide financing, which is being entirely reinvested into this project, and in part will enable us to complete the project. We are in the process of restarting construction. There's approximately 50 to 70 personnel on site this week, doing various pre-construction activities on the residential building, as well as actual construction on the commercial and parking facility. And we have an anticipated completion date of Q2 2024. So, as I mentioned, our replacement construction manager is March Associates, and they are mobilized at the site, conducting various construction activities. We're in the process of finalizing financing to enable completion of the project, and in conjunction with that financing, we have been working with the City of New York to extend our ground lease, which is necessary in order to obtain the financing. And as I mentioned, we're anticipating a project completion of Q2 2024. The details of the ground lease extension are on the screen. Basically, it's an extension from 49 years to 99 years and includes a fair market value reset in year 50. And just as a reminder to folks, we had obtained a 384B4 initial approval on this ground lease in 2013 with the full support of the Borough Board and all, stakeholders. I cede the floor to any questions that the Borough Board has.
Thank you. Do any of the members have any questions?
I have a question, Ms. Marie.
Okay, go ahead, Nick.
I was just wondering, at our community board meeting, when I asked about section 384B4 of the city charter states that a majority of the members of the borough board must have the opportunity to approve the sale or lease of a city property. We understand that the Borough Board previously approved the original lease based on the approved uses, lease term, and timelines for completion. When you presented a new lease, and I was asked the question, and I was told that you did not have to come back to Borough Board or the Community Board because you changed in the terms of the lease. Is that still the case? Because according to this, I looked up at the city charter saying that you should have came back when you extended the lease.
My understanding is that that is not required. I mean, I would let EDC, chime in here. But I think under our initial lease and initial approval, the city of New York is able to extend our ground lease.
Is Diana here? Because that other lady that was on the outcall, Lauren, she was the one that said I didn't. Lauren, can you
Yeah,
answer
yeah,
that?
I'm here, Nick, and so is Lauren. I think Lauren was about to respond.
I'm sorry.
Yes, and we reviewed it, and Borough Board is not required to extend the lease term for this ground lease. That is why we're not seeking an approval from the Borough Board.
So if everything stayed the same, your original project was basically the same, but you extended the lease 49 years, you don't have to ever come back to Community Board or Borough Board.
That's right.
Okay, but this project has changed significantly. So you still don't have to come back to Borough Board? What's the reasoning behind that? Can I ask that?
I would dispute that the project has changed significantly. It is actually, Evan, if you want to maybe address that, that question came up at the community board meeting as well. Project has not changed significantly.
So we're still going to have a hotel? We're still going to have restaurants. We're still going to have the stores. We're still going to have the 6 historic buildings rehabbed.
The project was always designed to be completed in phases, so that's part of phase 2 of the project. And from the outset, Triangle was not. Triangle has always been, since they came to Borough Board initially, intending on completing the first phase of the project first, and then the second phase of the project after they completed the first phase. Triangle never has had the right to start the second phase of the project until they complete the first phase. And I can say that with such certainty because I was involved in the Borough Board when Triangle went back in 2013.
Well, Lauren, here's my question. If you had to sign the 10-year lease and you did nothing in 10 years and nothing happened in 10 years, then you would have never have to come back to Community Board 1 or Borough Board. So like if nothing gets completed in 20 years and you still have a 49-year lease, I don't understand how you don't have to come back if the lease terms have changed.
The term of, in order to extend the lease from 49 years to 99 years, it doesn't require an additional approval from the community board, from the Borough Board. It doesn't require 384 to do so. We just have the ability to do that. We're extending it 50 years. I mean, we have the ability to extend it, beyond that, but that's just not a feature of the approval that was given back in 2013 allows us to extend it further. But I also feel like we are actually doing all the things that would be required if they did seek approval under 384 before. When we went in 2013, the process to get it approved was a presentation that was very similar to the one Evan gave. And then, we went to the community board and then the Borough Board. And then that was what was required for us to enter into the lease in the first place. So we're doing those 2 steps now.
And I would just echo what Lauren said, the project the project that was presented today, or that is being presented today, and the original, the project plan under which phase 1 was approved is substantially the same square footage. Commercial parking is the same. The number of residential units is the same. This is our completion of that first phase is what we are endeavoring to deliver to the community, and it's substantially the same as what was always envisioned at the site here.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
I have a question. So if the project was scheduled to be completed, well, prior to COVID, the project was scheduled to be completed in 2020. Am I correct in that?
Roughly, yes.
So if the project was scheduled to be completed in 2020, you've now gotten a lease extension for 49 additional years, and you still need till 2024 to complete the project. I know that you said that you're back on track now from the prior issues that you had with the general contractor. Why do you need all this additional time to complete phase one?
The issue that we ran into was a general contractor that we had hired that went bankrupt. And after they went bankrupt, there were some significant legal proceedings that ensued with both the bankruptcy and a bonding company that was in place that was to guarantee the completion and the performance of our general contractor. That process has played out over the last 3 years. I assure you there's nothing that we want to do more than deliver this project as soon as possible. It has cost our company tens of millions of dollars in additional funding that we've had to pump into this project, and we've stood behind this project and continue to stand behind it and put our money where where the project is in order to deliver it to the community. As I mentioned, it was unfortunate the situation that our contractor had. We had fortunately had a surety in place that was able to write a significant check to invest in the project. And the project requires some reconstruction in order to get it back on track because of those delays. At the same time, in order to obtain the financing necessary to complete the project, because even with the money that was being that we settled with the bonding company for our general contractor for, the financial markets want to have assurances and enough term on their investment to make an investment in the project. And so EDC has been working with us closely over last few months as we brought this to their attention and said, hey, we went out, we got some indications from the financial markets, and we need additional term on this lease in order to deliver the project. Please work with us, and they have. And as I said, our ultimate goal is and has always been to complete this project and deliver these residential units and commercial space to St. George and Staten Island.
And so phase one is the part that's going to include the stores and whatnot on the bottom of the residential facility?
Yes.
So do you have valid letters of intent for businesses that will be occupying those spaces?
Yeah, we have.
Currently?
Yes, Marcy.
Would you be able to tell us who they are?
Of course, we have a signed lease with a supermarket. We have for about 7,500 square feet of fresh food supermarket. We have a signed lease with the College of Staten Island to deliver a tech incubator space and satellite campus for the college. We have a signed lease with the Learning Experience, which is a early childhood learning center and national operator of that space. And we're working with various potential operators for the third floor office space or second floor office space with the intention of delivering co-working space to the community.
And I just wanted to circle back to my original question. So wasn't the project supposed to be about 60% completed when you started having these issues?
Yes, it was
And so
over 60% complete.
So, and it's still going to take you until 2024 to complete the other 40%. And correct?
Correct. We have approximately, I guess at this point, 18 months or so of construction. The facade issues that the previous contractor had will require, and that's why there's scaffolding on the building right now, which is part of the staging and preparation activities that the construction manager is doing on site right now.
So Evan, so excuse me, I want to interrupt one sec. The skins that held up the first project, they're outside of that building. You're not going to be able to utilize them because that was what put the first contract out of business. when we waited for the skins for the building, and then they were waiting, they were coming from Italy, and then the pandemic happened. And are we going to utilize those skins, or that's why the scaffold's there and you're going to utilize something different?
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, I was getting to that when I was.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I jumped that.
The scaffolding that's going up on the building is to enable the removal of the facade that was in place. We're fortunate to have the facade in place. It provided some weather protection to the construction that was in place previously, but unfortunately, we're going to have to take that down and reinstall a new facade on the side of the building, and that, you know, substantial cost, but it's what's required in order to get the project completed.
And so you said construction has started back again. Exactly what type of construction is happening now?
We have 50 to 70 personnel on site right now that have been installing, staging, preparing to demo the facade on the residential building. And then there is actual, you know, construction going on in place masonry, testing of the systems that were installed previously, just to identify any issues that, that the previous installation had occurred. We have a building that is nearly completely roughed in terms of mechanicals, electricals, and plumbing, et cetera. However, the subcontractors that were hired by the previous general contractor are not the same ones that are completing the work now. And so they've been on site for months doing testing to ensure that the work that they're stepping, you know, the shoes that they're stepping into, so to speak, are sound. And so far, we've had success in testing those systems with minimal, corrective work that's been necessary. But that's the type of preparation work that goes into restarting construction after significant, after a site sits fallow for, 2.5 years. Restarting construction is quite an undertaking.
So it's preparation to restart construction, not necessarily construction.
To be clear, that preparation work has been going on for months, while other construction work is also ongoing. So just because we're doing testing and preparation work for the MEP systems doesn't mean that other construction work isn't actually taking place. So the garage construction, for instance, has been ongoing for probably the last 45 to 60 days, doing miscellaneous metal work, masonry work, some concrete corrective work, etc. The curtain wall for the commercial building it was been demoed and being taken off. There's permit reissuance that has needed to happen. There's cleaning and safing the site. There's installing a hoist to enable all this stuff to happen. So, like as I suggested, it's quite an undertaking.
I have a few questions.
I'm sorry, just one more question. I'm so sorry, everyone. And what is your plan for to restore the historical buildings that are on the site?
That is part of phase 2. I think, as I had mentioned to the community board the other night, our focus right now, is getting phase 1 completed and delivered, so that that can be delivered, and we will, put one foot in front of the other, so to speak, and focus on once this is financed, once construction is, at least at a further point, we'll re-engage and refocus on the phase 2 deliverables.
And
I have
so,
two
Lauren,
questions.
sorry, I'm
Just
so
let
sorry.
Marcy finish.
I'm sorry.
Go
Oh, I
ahead,
thought
Marcy.
you were done. I apologize.
I'm so sorry.
Apologize.
Just one final follow-up question. Lauren, I know that in meetings that we've had, you've mentioned that if this developer is not able to get phase 1 completed, they will not have the opportunity to go to phase 2. So then that means that still we'll be waiting for the historical buildings to be restored. It's a possibility that would be not completed, correct?
Sort of what I said before, like Triangle's never had, from the outset, Triangle's always had to complete phase 1 before they were allowed to start phase 2. So just echoing kind of what Evan's been saying, the historic buildings, the hotel, that's a part of phase 2. I know it looks like they just haven't done it, but you guys, everyone should know it's not that they have elected not to do it. They've not been able to do it. They've not been allowed to start on any of that. They won't be able to start on that till they complete phase 1. So yes, if Triangle doesn't finish phase 1, then you're right. That would push out, the construction of phase 2 to be longer. But the project's always been designed like this, and so it's not any failing on Triangle's part that they haven't started phase 2 yet.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Thank you.
Okay, Rob Collegio, I seen you had your hand up. Do you still have your hand up? Jerry, you'll be next
Yes.
after Rob.
Yes, thank you, Marie. So, hi, Robert Collegio, Chair CB2. Just a quick question. Marcia, you had great questions. I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of all your questions. Thank you. But on this project, will the surety keep your existing subcontractors, or was everybody terminated and started all over again?
The surety stepped into the shoes of the previous construction manager and signed a takeover agreement obligating them to complete the project. They did not meet their completion date, and then they were terminated because it did not seem like they had any intention to complete the project. And certainly they had no intention of completing the project, which forced us to litigate with them. And we ended up settling about a year ago. And we've had to go out and put in place the new construction manager, general contractor, financing, et cetera, in order to complete the project. So
That's there's a lot of work going just to do that alone, to status the project and get started with the replacement contract. Yeah, all right, thank you. I figured that's what happened there. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Jerry, and then Brianna is
Yeah.
next.
What's the name of the contractor who's involved with this process?
the current construction manager that we're in contract with,
Yes.
their name is March Associates.
And can you tell us what other projects they've worked on successfully on Staten Island?
I'm not familiar with any projects that they've done on Staten Island, but they have done substantial work throughout the tri-state area. They're based in New Jersey. They've done a lot of work in New Jersey of all asset classes, and they've done projects in Manhattan, in Queens, in Brooklyn. It's a multi-generational construction manager. They just completed a 300,000 square foot industrial and self-storage building for us in JFK, near JFK Airport, and we've been impressed with their work.
And you had mentioned a fresh food supermarket. What's its name?
It is called Lighthouse Point Market. It's an independent operator. It's not a national chain. He has a couple other locations throughout New York City, and this will be his first location on Staten Island.
Lighthouse. Could you just repeat that? Lighthouse what?
Point Market.
Thank you.
Okay, Brianna from Councilmember Borelli's office.
Thank you. So given what has been said today, at what point will the community have access to the waterfront as far as the fishing pier, the plaza, et cetera?
I believe the community does have access to the waterfront, but if Lauren, if you have any details that you want to share on the pier, please do.
Yeah, sure. I think you're referring to like the plaza that's located between the development and the water. Not at any point in construction has that been closed off. There are always people there whenever I go to the site. Pier is open, 300 feet of the pier open. There's a portion of the pier that is shut off because it's not structurally sound. But there is a 300 feet of the pier that is currently open. I guess, am I talking about the right waterfront? Do you mean, or did you mean that waterfront that's right in front of the Lighthouse Point development?
I think we might have lost her.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you're breaking it. You're coming in and out, Brianna.
Okay, apologies. So will that part be reconstructed?
The plaza is currently open.
Right, but you had mentioned the portion that isn't exactly structurally sound. I was curious if that part, if that would be reconstructed as well.
Yes, in terms of the portion of the pier that is currently closed, we are very aware of the community's interest in getting that reopened, and we're very much looking into it and heard what has been said. I don't have a update at this time. I don't know, Diana, is there anything you want to add to that?
Only in that, it did come up at the community board meeting. Obviously we're well aware of the priority of reopening it. And just to clarify, it's not packaged into the Lighthouse Point project, but like Lauren said, we're aware of it as an immediate priority. We're working on finding a long-term solution. And in the interim, we've gotten some questions from the community board asking for details about the last inspection that was conducted and the details about the structural integrity of the pier, which we're preparing to respond to, and also in the interim have been working on the maintenance and cleanliness and security of the pier, which we know has been an issue.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask why 50 additional years added onto the term? Why not 25? Why not 30? Why 50?
The concept of a 99-year ground lease is well understood in the capital markets, and when we went out to get the completion financing, that was the feedback was we can't look at this with at that point was 43 years left on a lease. The 99-year lease is looked at in the capital markets more akin to a sale, so to speak. So it changes both who can even consider an investment in a project like this when the lease is less than 50 years or less than 99 years or whatever, as also how it gets valued for senior construction financing. So that was the feedback, and in order to get the project done, that's what is necessary at this point.
Okay. Other questions from other board members? Okay. Okay. All right. So thank you for coming and presenting. So I know we have all spoken about this, and we've had some concerns amongst ourselves about this project. Thank you for coming now. We, all wish it would have been much earlier than this. To come after the fact is a little surprising to us. I was, like I said, as far as we knew, it was still 49 years. To find out that it's an additional 50 years has been tacked on after the fact is a little concerning to us and to the board members. So thank you for attending. So for our board members that are present, so I know that we've had some discussion on this, and I know that we were not thrilled with the way that this occurred, and we had proposed, so I want to introduce a motion. We can discuss it. So this is only right now, this is only for the board members to speak on. So the public session is closed of the meeting. So, we had spoken about doing a motion to not support the revised lease term from 49 to 99 years. So I do want to enter that in there and get everybody's feedback and see what we think. So, at this point, I'm going to make a motion to propose that the Staten Island Borough Board not support the revised lease term from 49 to 99 years offered to Triangle Equities, as it represents a completely new deal. It violates the original contract and could potentially harm the people of Staten Island and the city of New York because it erodes the authority of the borough of the board pursuant to the city charter and potentially reduces the future value to the city. Do we want to discuss this, board members? Anybody have any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Ms. Marie, like I said, they had 10 years So if they had a 20-year lease and 10 years was wasted and it sat and the building sat there, they would only have 10 years to complete the project. So I understand, like, and for them not to come with and I really would like some clarification on that ruling on that city charter, because it seems like lease agreements, it should come back to both the community board and borough board.
I agree. That's why I have made this motion. Other members of the motion, of the board, any more
I have a
discussion on the motion, or?
I
Go
have a
ahead,
question.
Jerry.
What impact does our motion to reject this have on the entire project?
So, I mean, we could revisit it in the future if we want to. It's just, like I said, at this point, I feel that we have to, ensure the integrity of the board. I know some
No,
of
I'm
us have
not-
spoken
I'm not
beforehand
questioning-
that we feel that the integrity of the board is being questioned.
No, I'm
And
not
the other thing
questioning
is
that.
too, is
I'm
that,
not-
mhm.
What I'm asking is, okay, we reject this for all of the reasons you've mentioned, which I believe most members of the board would agree to. What I'm asking is, once that's done, what impact does that have on this project?
Well, according to EDC, they're saying they didn't even need to come back to us. So,
Okay, so
that
we're making a statement.
that remains to be seen. We'll see what it is, and then, we can move forward from that. We can always, visit it again next month if we'd like to. Marcy, go ahead.
So, yeah, I just wanted to echo what you said, Marie, because I really need more clarity on how it's not necessary for them to come to the borough board for
Yes.
approval on this. I really, what Lauren said, I need more clarity.
I agree. That's why I think we should go and we should, take the motion. And then, like I said, when we get more clarity, we can actually revisit again. And, but like I said, in the interim, I just feel, like I said, coming to us after the fact is really not notifying us. And, there is no community process, no input here. Any other members of the board? Brianna, is that a hand up, or Rob Collegio?
Yes, thank you. Again, I'm not familiar with any of the details here, Marie, so I may ask you for some background packet or information if we have to take a vote. But who is our issue actually with? Is it with EDC or with the contractor? It sounds like our issue is with the city.
It is essentially with EDC, because, like I said, as far as we know, they are supposed to have come back to us. We feel that the charter was very clear, and, in stating that they had to come back. We were told that they arrived at the decision, but we weren't really quite told how. It was kind of, well, this is what we decided. So, like I said, I really feel that they are undermining the authority of the community board and of the borough board itself. And, the way it was handled just was not done appropriately.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? Nick?
No,
Oh, I'm sorry, you lit up.
I'm sorry.
All right, so we do have a motion on the floor. If I could have somebody second the motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Nick, second. Okay, if the motion is, I'm going to read it back, and then we can take a vote on it. Motion proposes for the Staten Island Borough Board to not support the revised lease from 49 to 99 years offered to Triangle Equities, as it represents a completely new deal, reiterates the original contract, and could potentially harm the people of Staten Island, the city of New York, eroding the authority of the board pursuant to the city charter, and potentially reduces future value to the city. All those in favor? If I
Aye.
could have an aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Sorry, any no votes, rather?
I'll
Any
abstain.
abstentions?
I'll abstain, Marie.
That's Rob?
Yes.
Okay, so motion passes, 6 yes, 1 extension. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving right along to further board business. We did not have any correspondence. Is there any old business to bring up? No old business? Okay, any new business to bring up? Okay, can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Okay,
I'll
Rob first,
I'll
Jerry
second
second.
it.
Okay. All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care,
Good night,
everyone.
thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.